Welcome back to the Webby and O'Neill channel. And Marcus Rashford said he wanted a new challenge. Well, that challenge is driving down the M6 motorway to the Midlands. Get involved in today's chat as usual, Reds, because we want to know your opinions, and we will discuss them throughout today's video on that latest news from David Ornstein that Aston Villa and United are close to agreeing a loan deal with a buy option at the end of the season. Your first thoughts on it? My first thoughts with Ruben Amorim, major boost for him going forward and the club. It's the end of player power. That's how I first seen it. And from a personal point of view, I'd be glad to see the back of him. 2 years of pain I've been watching Marcus Rashford picking up wages and hardly putting the effort in. He's let his teammates down, doesn't want to train. He's let the fans down, and he thought he was bigger than the club. Well, it's the end. That's how I see it. They're my first thoughts. Mentioned a new challenge. That's what Rashford said himself back in December. Did you think he envisaged, though, that challenge being at Aston Villa? No, he didn't envisage this at all. He sent his advisors, which is his brother, and I did say I thought he was on a wild goose chase, his agent. I didn't ever see Barcelona. That's his preferred choice. Going to Monaco, go to places like Milan. They weren't going to pay that money. They're not that daft. That's how I see it. The money wasn't there, and he hasn't performed. So why would you pay all that money? So I'm baffled by this, really. But I look at Emery, and I think to myself, he sees something. It was a bit of a challenge for us if you joined us live earlier on, just getting the mics on. But we are back. If we do have any troubles, I trust you all out there to let us know in the live chat. Do you think it's an appeal for Champions League football, and that's drawing him towards Aston Villa? No, I don't think it's an appeal of the Champions League. Yes, Aston Villa are doing well. They're a well-run side under Unai Emery. They've done well in this Champions League. Got beyond further than I thought they would, but I don't think it's anything to do with Champions League. I think this is just like the only option on the table. It's not over the line this yet. All parties are talking. It's down to Marcus Rashford. He will still be under the scrutiny. He's not going to escape it. He'll have the British media. He'll have every one of us looking at what's going on. In a way, you have to turn round. There's a bit of a dilemma with United fans. He has to play well for Aston Villa because the option to buy there, and that's what I like. I like it as well, but I wonder what the price will actually be, though, for him. To be honest with you, many United fans I've seen out there for quite a while now, they're not interested in the price. They just want him off the books. They just want him off the books. They want the end to what I started with, the player power. Marcus Rashford, in the eyes of many United fans, just has to get out of here. Even just getting him off the books for his wages is good enough for Manchester United fans. United fans have looked at this, right? And I don't think they care that Rashford's going to another Premier League club. I certainly don't. I want him to do well so we can get him off the books. But I think it's going to be a tough task for Aston Villa to sign it off at the end of the season to say, right, we're happy with Marcus Rashford. Let's pay the money. Well, they've got a few quid to spend, haven't they, with getting Duran off the books over to Saudi Arabia. That's true. Do you expect United to maybe try and get a deal done for that young kid from Bayern Munich, that Matthias Tell? There was a talk about Tottenham Hotspur, wasn't there? But I don't think Daniel Levy was allowed anywhere near Bayern Munich in trying to present an offer to him. So I think Matthias Tell, I think if you look at what's going on there, he's a young lad. He's got players in front of him. His first team appearances have been sort of curtailed because of what's in front of him. I think he'll be staying there. I think this is just noise. I think Matthias Tell, that's out the window. I think United have already done the deals. They've done 2. They've got Hayden and now they've got Dorku. Do you see Marcus Rashford, though? Obviously, you need a crystal ball for this one, but do you see him coming back in the summertime without a deal actually being done with Aston Villa? Oh, I can see that. I can see that. I mean, Marcus Rashford, is he fit? He's not match fit, definitely not match fit. He was took out of the squad for the Man City game. So at the end of the day, he's had no match practice. Yes, he's had training and that. He says he's been doing extra training himself, but that's nothing. So it's going to take Aston Villa a while to get him up to match fitness. So he's not even been up to the task, according to Ruben Amorim, that he's put the effort in for Manchester United. But Ruben Amorim he's getting him off the books, he's getting the player power out, and it's Unai Emery's problem. But Unai Emery is listen. You're mentioning Ruben Amorim there about him getting him off the books, but you've got to look at it as well, and you've got to give a bit of praise here to the guys behind the scenes, like Ineos, Omar Barada, Wilcox, etc., in trying to get this deal done. And I think Christopher Vella as well. I think he's involved in transfers.
No, I think what it is, the men in suits, they backed Ruben Amorim. Ruben Amorim's come in, clearly seen the problem. He's trying to dictate what goes on. This is how I want everyone to be. This is the way I'm setting up. 3-4-3, change. But Marcus Rashford thought he was the number one. He thought, not just under Ruben Amorim, under previous managers, build the team round me. Build the team round me. That's where Marcus Rashford's head was at. So, you know, I just look at it and think to myself, this is long overdue. This should have happened a couple of years ago. Marcus Rashford, I did say, and I've said it on a few occasions, a couple of years ago, I didn't trust him. As soon as I heard the news about PSG hunting around, I knew it was all part of getting a contract extension and upping his wages. And the moment that happened, it came true. The trust with Marcus Rashford, with me, went out the window, as it did with many of the other United fans. He wanted the team built round him.
He did go on to say, David Ornstein, in that article today, that significant progress has been made, though, with Aston Villa moving to sort out the financial terms and are looking to satisfy United on the salary coverage and convince the player also. So by the sounds of it, there's maybe still some convincing to do with Marcus Rashford. Could the convincing be to actually be driving down the M6? That's a new challenge in itself.
Well, that's a tough task.
It is.
A tough task.
Is Marcus Rashford up to that challenge?
Well, he's going to have to be, because if he doesn't take this challenge on, what message does that send out to everybody? He could go to Aston Villa, put in decent performances and put himself back out there on the market. So that's the challenge for Marcus Rashford. He doesn't have to sign for Aston Villa at the end of the season. If he puts it in, what he does, he puts himself in the shop window. And that's the right thing for Marcus Rashford. So him, if he dilly-dallies over this, going to Aston Villa, I think it's a major mistake by Marcus Rashford, because he will have no respect whatsoever from the professional footballers in and around him. They will look at him and say, you just don't care. You just want your money. And many, many United fans for a long time have looked at it and said, that's all what Marcus Rashford wants, the money. Well, he's got the challenge. He's got to do what he's got to do to get to Barcelona, to get to Monaco. He has to put in the performances. And it's a hard task. And Unai Emery, and I keep going on about Unai Emery, right? He's the man to do it. Now, will they sign him? Will he want to go there? I don't think so. It's not what he wanted. The press are here. You know they're merciless. They will go right at him until he moves.
Yeah, to be fair, the coverage still around Marcus Rashford is going to be there. And me personally, looking from the outside in, I thought he would have been best moving abroad and starting a new life, a new career somewhere else without the glaze of the media spotlight. But do you think he's still maybe, to use a YouTube phrase, of deluded that Barcelona still want him? Is that even true, or is that just made up reports about Barcelona out there?
I think a lot of Marcus Rashford's world is deluded. If you look at what Ruben Amorim said, he turned around and said, the advisors around you, maybe you should get better advisors and all that. But I think Marcus Rashford is the one pushing what's going on. He's setting the agenda. He's the one who thinks Barcelona will pay the money. To me and to many people out there, Barcelona paying all that money and paying 50, 60, possibly 70 million pounds for Marcus Rashford, who hasn't put in a performance. What would he actually do to transform Barcelona? I don't see it. Many other people out there don't see it on the performances he's put in. He's not cared. His attitude's been poor. Ruben Amorim's called him out, and now the club have backed Ruben Amorim to say, right, you're out of this club, Marcus Rashford, any way possible.
Just thinking that as well, he'd have actually competition at Aston Villa to even get in the team. I mean, from the performances that we've seen, not just this season, but over the last, let's say, 18 months or so, I mean, he's not a guaranteed starter at Aston Villa in my eyes.
Well, he's not a guaranteed start because he's not fit, but I do agree with you.
When he does even to get match fit, you know, there's some top players there at Aston Villa in the midfield and the forward areas.
It's the same if you look at Barcelona, Milan or Monaco. Would he be a guaranteed starter there? I don't think so. Marcus Rashford, on his day, is a good player, and that's all he is. That's all he's shown. He's no great player. So all this fanciful ideas of my preference is Barcelona is just wishful thinking. You have to be professional. You have to put in the work. He hasn't done it. He's let everybody down. And like I say, the players around him, his teammates, the club, the fans, the lot. It's just wishful thinking. He sent his brother, his agent around Europe, talking to clubs, which was fanciful, and it was never going to happen. And I did say it. So Aston Villa, I think it's the only chance he's got of getting back playing football and showing to everyone we're all wrong. Now, if Marcus Rashford does go out there and prove us all wrong, well, what does that tell you about the last 2 years of Marcus Rashford playing at Manchester United with his walkabout attitude, with his sulk, with his head down, with him not preparing to even run back and chase players and tackle?
Yeah, Martin says in the chat they've got Rodgers, Watkins, Marlon, all ahead of him. Even Jacob Ramsey, he comes off on the left-hand side as well, who I think's a top player as well. I don't think he gets the credit he deserves, that lad. But a real sticking point I see as well is that he'd have to have an absolute an absolute great season from now until the end of the season, Rashford, to stay there because of his wages as well. Are Aston Villa really going to cover his full wages next season if they sign him?
I think what this is...
They'd have to actually smash through.
I think when you look at what's going on, all parties are talking and the possible loan moves there. But what it is, it's the added option to buy at the end of the season. I just look at how this has come available. Such short notice, John Duran going to Al Nassr. This has prompted the move. And I think it's more of a move for the loan deal and hoping they can get something out of Marcus Rashford and they can add, going into that Champions League and the rest of the season, something to the Aston Villa side. Yeah. I think it's a gamble. I don't believe that Aston Villa at this moment are truly thinking of wanting to buy Marcus Rashford. I think it's more on the part of Manchester United putting that option to buy at the end of the season. But Marcus Rashford, for me, I don't think he'd want to go to Aston Villa permanently. I think he might be up for the loan move. I think he's still got, like I say, wishful thinking of going somewhere else. But he'll only go somewhere else if he turns it on under Unai Emery at Aston Villa.
Yeah, you might see like a Jadon Sancho situation, goes on loan to Dortmund and ends up at Chelsea. But like I say, with Rashford there, I just can't see Aston Villa smashing through their wage structure to then sign Rashford on a permanent deal for next season. Is he currently on around about 300 grand? Are Aston Villa even going to pay 250 to Marcus Rashford next season? I just highly doubt it, to be honest. And I do think we'll see him at the end of the season.
I think for Aston Villa, they might start a slippery slope if they start paying £300,000 or more to players like Marcus Rashford. I think that's not their structure. They're a well-run club. And like I say, Villa have been transformed, not just by Unai Emery over the last couple of years, by the people what have come in, running the club. They've got a basic wage. The players understand what they're on. They're not superstars. They're hoping and improving to get to that status, some of these players at Aston Villa. And they are very good. But to look around and see Marcus Rashford walk in there could be problems. A loan move, for me, is the only thing what's happening.
Could be a huge problem as well for Emery. If they end up covering, like Ornstein's reported, like a good part of his salary as well. For a club like Aston Villa, I do think they're actually a big club, Aston Villa, you know, especially when you hear people talking about Tottenham being a big club, top six. I've just never seen it myself. I actually think Villa are bigger than Tottenham. But if that don't work out for even Unai Emery, he could be up for the chop at Aston Villa if it doesn't work out, because that's a huge amount of money they will then lose through that deal with John Duran as well. He could be just up for the chop, just for with Marcus Rashford, if he ends up following suit like he's done at United, walking around the pitch.
I can see what you're saying there, but what this is, this is a gamble. There's a place there in the squad, and this is a gamble by Unai Emery, hoping that he can turn him round. And for the, 4 months, I don't think it's that much of a gamble. They've got the money.
I think the gamble is as well, is that the current Aston Villa squad actually embracing Rashford and taking him into that dressing room.
From the point of the squad, I would say this, and other people are saying it as well. He could fracture that dressing room within a week.
Yeah, with the wages he's on, and players are looking around thinking, I've been putting it in week after week here at Aston Villa. He comes in, walks round, and he's been paying all that money.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. Players are players. They all talk. We know that. We know what goes on. And they will look at this and say, you haven't been professional enough, right, in your club, Manchester United. You've not been willing to work. What makes it by coming to Aston Villa, you're going to change? So there's going to be a lot of scepticism in that squad at Aston Villa. There's certainly going to be a lot of scepticism among the Manchester United fans. Will it be a permanent deal? Will he perform and all that? And me, like I say, for 2 years, I've been banging on about him with his poor attitude and everything, and I don't see him changing, and I don't see him physically able to be up to it, to be honest with you. It's a big task. They want to win every game, Villa. They want to be in the top 4. They want to challenge for that Champions League. They're in a fantastic place. And Marcus Rashford's attitude, for me, I don't see that working at Aston Villa. It's a gamble, and a massive gamble, but let's get him out, even if it's on loan. Let's get him playing football, and then let's get him moved on in the summer. Whether it's Aston Villa or somewhere else, it doesn't really matter to me, and doesn't matter to United fans out there. We need a change. Player power's over as far as I'm concerned. We're signing players. We're going to sign more in the summer, and Ruben Amorim will move this team on.
Shaolin says Aston Villa play better attacking football than Manchester United. Rashford will cook for Villa. Well, I noticed a lot about the Aston Villa team and individuals. They all work together and they work hard. Does Marcus Rashford work hard and give everything on that football pitch? It's all right having the talent, but if you don't work hard, it's just wasted, like we've seen with Rashford. Yeah,
listen, Aston Villa are a hard-working side, and they are a team, and that's the thing. They're a team, and with Marcus going to Aston Villa, if it all goes through, then you've got to say to yourself, is he a team player? Why would someone, right, on that much money, a youth player, turn round and say, I don't want to be part of this team? And that's how he's been for a couple of years. It's Manchester United. If you can't be a part of a team at Manchester United, what makes everyone say that he's going to be part of a team at Aston Villa? I just don't see it working out. Short term, fine. I think he will put in a certain amount of effort to get in the window and get sold in the summer. Other clubs around Europe possibly look at him. I think short term, this will work out, but it will come back and there will be major problems. I see it going forward, actually getting Marcus Rashford off the books permanently.
How many games has it roughly been now since Rashford actually has not made an appearance? I think it's roughly 12 games he's missed. I know he was in the matchday squad for Newcastle, as it be at the end of the year. Man United really need to go out and replace Rashford with someone in the squad, or do you think we can cope with the likes of Garnacho, Ahmad, Bruno, even Eriksen still there to play in them positions?
No, Marcus Rashford is...
Kobbie Mainoo as well, to be fair, after that performance overnight.
Well, if you're thinking Marcus Rashford has been missed...
I'm not saying he has. I'm just saying, do you think they'll look at it and think, no, we need to strengthen it, and that might be to get someone in on loan as well from January till the end of the season?
Well, the question everyone out there, and I've seen him talk about Marcus Rashford, we've all talked about Marcus Rashford and his game, and you're talking about replacing him if he goes out on loan and that. But the fact is, what are we replacing? We're replacing a player where at times we've gone out there with 11 men with Marcus Rashford on the pitch, and we've been playing with 10 because Marcus Rashford hasn't put the effort in. We're actually not replacing Marcus Rashford. There's nothing to replace. That's as I see it, and many other Manchester United fans. Now, people might look at that and hear that and say, oh, you're being too critical. But the facts are there. My eyes haven't lied, like most of Manchester United fans. Their eyes haven't lied. There's nothing to replace. That is a sad indictment of a youth player who's come through the ranks and everything and has been part, like, of winning things. I just don't understand everything about Marcus. I don't understand anything about him.
We were just talking about a player and possible bringing someone in to replace Rashford. Fabrizio Romano was saying that Matthias Tell from Bayern Munich is not expected to be on the bench in their next game as well. And I think Man United might do some business, me. No. I think with the money being, or a large portion of his wages being covered, I don't see why United shouldn't look to go and try and get this kid and to see how he performs. No,
I'm not saying we shouldn't go and have a look. We should always be on the look. Every day we should be on the look for new players. And if opportunities come and he comes, that's fine. But I don't believe from a Bayern Munich point of view that they'll be letting him go. I think this is just like stories what are coming out there, what have been started by his agent and everything else like that. Because his place at the moment in the Bayern Munich side, it's limited because of the players in front of him. He's a good player. People talk about him. I've not actually seen him, but I'm going off reports, and he's highly rated. But the problem is his route to that first team is limited at the moment, and I think it's just a push from within inside Bayern Munich.
Yeah, anything more to add on Marcus Rashford, or do you think you've gone for everything that you need to?
No, I could sit here all day and talk about Marcus Rashford, but we're all on the same page, virtually, all United fans. He's been very poor for Manchester United. He's not put the effort in. He thinks he's something he's not. And that when he gave that interview, he wanted a fresh challenge. I think this is a major blow to Marcus Rashford and the way he looks at the world. So it's going to be interesting to see how Marcus Rashford gets on, and certainly with Aston Villa and all the rest of the players. But I have to say it again, he has let his own teammates down by not performing. He's let the fans down and he's let this club down. And it's a sad, sad end if he ends up getting sold in the summer for Marcus Rashford, because I do believe he'll look back at his career and think, I've wasted so many years at Manchester United.
Moving on to a little bit of news as well on Tyrell Malacia and from Fabrizio Romano there. Understand negotiations are now underway and advancing between Benfica and Manchester United for Malacia. Malacia has agreed to join Benfica on loan. Clubs are in advanced talks to seal the details as well.
Well, I did speak about Malacia. He's been put in the side, then he's been taken out of the side, normally at half-time. And I think to myself, right, he's on his way. And it looks like it there. I think he's surplus to requirements, to be perfectly honest with you. He's had a long injury. He's come back. He's match fit, but he's not putting it in. And I think he is surplus to requirements. Now we're looking at bringing in new players.
Alvaro Fernandez is playing over there, who were let go in the summer. A lot of people were mentioning bringing him back before Dorgu. So it's a bit of a strange one, that.
Listen, they always say...
Is he going to be back up to Fernandez? Or no, must be, surely.
I don't know, but it's a strange one. But Malacia, surplus requirements, and I think United just get him off the books.
What do you think about Evan signing today?
Well, 4.5-year deal, signed the deal, described as a versatile centre-back. He'll join the first team immediately. That's a great sign. That's a great sign in getting him in, and the belief what they've got in this young player. So I think he'll do well, and I think it's very good going forward to the actual policy of what's happening with Manchester United. 4.5-year deal, excellent.
Like I did mention the other day in the video when we discussed him, I do expect him to go in the first team squad, and that has actually been confirmed there, because I think he should be ahead of the likes of Lindelof and Johnny Evans. So I expect him to get some game time in the next few weeks. Yeah, it's surprising really that he's going... Well, for me, I thought he'd have a month with the under-21s, maybe. So for me, it is a surprise, because if they've got him, I'm surprised that United have actually kept Lindelof and Johnny Evans and not moved him out. We've now got that many versatile centre-halves. We're overloaded, whereas not too long ago, through injuries and everything, we were scrambling around. Yeah, Lindelof is going to get a big contract. This is the problem here at United. They're all on big contracts, big wages. Is anyone else going to pay them kind of wages? So they're just going to sit here and just run down the contracts. I don't really say that about Johnny Evans, because you can see he's a proper read through and through. He just turned up at United one summer with a pair of boots and ended up getting a contract. But with us talking about, going on to Dorgu, he's in Manchester today, expecting to complete his medical over the weekend. What does that now leave for Luke Shaw?
Luke Shaw, with his injury list, with his injury record, I mean, it's very difficult for him. But Luke Shaw, the one thing he has to do for himself, for his body, and for his game time at Manchester United, and also to show his commitment, I think the first thing he should do is quit international football. I think he should make that very clear. I don't think he will be playing regular. I don't think his body can keep up to the Premier League, the speed of it and everything else like that. So he's going to have to be like nursed through the rest of this season with game time. I think it's a really tough ask for Luke Shaw. On his day, we all know he's an excellent player, but I have said it, I think his body can't take it. I don't even know the severity of what it was, what's kept him out for so long. It's been sort of like a secret with Luke Shaw. A very tough ask coming for him. I like him when he's on the game, very good player, but unfortunately, I think his time's done come the summer. I think with more people coming into the club, I think they'll look at Luke Shaw and say, right, your age, your history of your injuries and that, we don't need you going forward.
No, I totally agree. And you look back to that injury he suffered at Eindhoven. Not a lot of players would actually return and actually continue to play professional football. I mean, you want to have a look at the scars actually on his leg where he had that injury. And, fair play for him for fighting back and then continuing to play. And I'm sure Luke Shaw himself doesn't want to be injured. Let's have it right.
Oh, no.
But there was mistakes that he made personally last season. And, in the summer with England, not looking after his own body. And to me, that was the final nail in the coffin, is to say, well, it's not Manchester United first in your eyes, it's England and your international duty. So for me, in the summertime, I think Ineos can get a deal done. I think they can actually get deals done for anyone, especially if this Marcus Rashford one goes through. We've seen him get one done for Jadon Sancho, where people thought it was nigh on impossible to get him off the book. So I think they're very astute and very good at business and getting business done for players in and players out. So it's another player I expect them to ship on in the summer.
I think it's
Luke
about
Shaw, Mason Mount.
Well, listen, with Luke Shaw, I think it's about commitment. What's his commitment? Is he prepared to give up the England? Is he prepared just to concentrate on Manchester United? And you highlight him doing the England thing. That wasn't just his fault. That was the club's fault. He should never have been allowed to go in the England squad. So it's all about commitment. And we know what's been going on with a lot of players over the years. Commitment, we're talking Rashford, there's no commitment there.
I know we're talking about commitment, but I'm committed to Manchester United. You're committed to Manchester United. It doesn't mean that we're going to get a game. And at the end of the day, it's not a nursing home. This is a football club. We need players in who are committed, but who are going to be available for selection on a regular basis.
And with the commitment, it comes with Luke Shaw. Is his body up for it? I don't personally think he's up to the rigours of Premier League football, but the powers that be behind the scenes, they will be looking at it. And like I say, it's been a strange injury, what Luke Shaw's had, but it keeps continuing. Calf muscles, hamstring, things like that. And once they start going at that age and playing in the training and playing in the Premier League, it's a tough ask to play regular. And I don't think he'll play regular. I think what will happen is United will try and move him on.
Yeah, for me, Dorgu coming in, that doesn't mean... put it the other way. Luke Shaw, I don't think his body would be able to handle playing in that left wing-back spot up and down every game. I just think he'd just break down. I do think he was originally cover for Martinez on that left side of defence, but I think that signing of Heaven from Arsenal, I think he's going to be the actual natural replacement for Luke Shaw behind Martinez to challenge each other.
Yeah, I think there's lots, when we're talking about who's going to play in that role, obviously Dorgu's going to be there, but you've got Delo what can play there, you've got Mazraoui what can play there. So really, when you look at them statistics, the amount of players we've got in that position, I think Luke Shaw is surplus to requirements. So I think it's a matter of getting him fit, getting him on the pitch, showing everyone what he can do, and then moving him on. It's as simple as that.
No, I totally agree, and I think it's some good business there from Ineos, getting a young kid in there from Arsenal who's got all the potential in the world, from a lot of what I've seen on the channel with people's comments who've watched him regular, and I'm looking forward to more business like this being done in the summertime. The only thing that I'm not happy with Ineos right now is charging little Timmy and Grandad John £66 for a ticket. I think it's an absolute disgrace. But some of the business they're doing and looking like they're doing with player transfers, I'm hopeful for the future.
Well, I'm hopeful for the future because they've backed, and it is a major thing what they're doing. They've backed Ruben Amorim from the very off with this Rashford situation, and it's great to see. The player power, as far as I'm concerned now, is completely over. So going forward, let's hope Ineos, the Glazers, fully back Ruben Amorim.
Yeah, let's hope from our point of view anyway, I don't know about yours, that we see a deal for Rashford completed by Monday. But let us know what your thoughts and opinions are on Marcus Rashford and anything and everything that we've discussed today. I'd just like to thank you all for getting involved in the chat as well.
Thank you.
It's been popping off. Loads of different opinions in there is what we like to see as well. We'll be back straight after the game tomorrow with a match reaction. So get that notification on, and hopefully you'll see us there with the 3 points. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, everyone, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.